Hey everyone, it's Clint Salter, your host for Dance Teachers Unite for 2015. And today is all about your faculty, the heartbeat, the backbone of your studio. And I'm so lucky, I've spoken to this lovely lady a couple of times before. She's spoken to our members of the Dance Studio Owners Association, and she also is one of our members. She's got so much gold to give you. No pressure, no pressure. Please welcome the amazing Renee Celeste to the call. Hey, Renee.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. Renee, for those people that don't know much about you, haven't come across your work, in 60 seconds, can you give me a little bit of a snapshot about who you are and also what's your big mission in the world?
In the whole world. Okay.
The whole world.
I am a dance studio owner this is my 13th year. I live in New Jersey, right outside the city. I am a mom of 3 kids, 9, 7, and 4. And I'm also a writer. I've written a syllabus for the company Leap and Learn for musical theater, and musical theater is my thing. So I just started another new company to sell a bunch of products to dance studio owners about how to bring a musical theater, meaning singing, dancing, acting program into their studio, because I think it's a really great tool and a great way to build your business, but also super fun for the kids. So
totally, 100%. And today's about teachers, but I might ask you a little bit about programs as well, because I know you've got a lot of experience there to pass on to our studio owners. So Renee, when it comes to teachers, and I know that you've been in your studio for a very long time now as a studio owner, what are those things that you are looking for when you employ a new teacher into your studio?
Mm-hmm. I think for me, the first thing is I want to make sure that they fit the culture of my studio. So I guess you have to know, and I kind of know, when you meet someone, if they're your kind of person, and so I find that the people that are attracted to work at my studio and the people that work for us have similar backgrounds to mine, being that they are diverse in a lot of them came up as dancers and actors and singers, and they can teach multiple things, but mostly it's that they just get the vibe of your studio, whatever that is. And for me, if my gut says that person's going to work at my studio, obviously they have to have the credentials, but I've had people I had one voice teacher, one of the best I've ever had, was living in the city, was coming out for an interview 3 times on the train, messed up, didn't get on the right train and missed his interview 3 times. But I had a really good feeling about this kid. And it turned out he was one of the best voice teachers I ever had. Just was new to New York City and very green. So I'm glad I gave him a chance. So I think just trusting that instinct about what is right for your studio is super important.
Yeah, I think that's great. Hey, I've been to New York 7 times now, and I'm not even daring to get on the train. That system seems crazy.
Yeah.
Hello to Uber and lots of walking. So that's a great place to start. I mean, when you go through, so you're about culture, you want a good culture fit. And I would say that is the number one, right? That is always the number one. Knowing your culture well, that's for you to kind of figure out, and you learn that. And I think culture shifts and changes. I think it's an interesting conversation. And when you start your studio, if you look back when you started, many years ago, and where you are today, how have you seen the culture change within your studio, and how have you kind of overcome those challenges? Because I see with teachers all the time, you've got a teacher and they're a great fit at that time for what you're doing and those types of students. But as you change, I think if the teacher doesn't shift with you and learns and grows and stays a part of that big vision, that's where there can be a disconnect. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've gone through a couple big changes throughout my studio history. One major shift about, 3 years ago now, in which a lot of teachers, I hired a lot of new teachers, and partly for what you're saying. My goals for the studio were shifting, and if they didn't fit in with that, even if they were fantastic teachers that some of the students loved, they just weren't the right fit. And it's okay to part ways with teachers, even on a positive note, because they're not fitting in with what you're doing. I had I don't want to say let go, but I have a teacher that I had for a couple of years, just who was not coming back this fall. And it was really a mutual thing because what she wanted to teach and her goals just didn't line up with where we were as a studio. And I think she's a wonderful teacher, and I, gave her a great reference for another studio. It's just that I know that my studio with kids that are triple threat kids that are trying to learn to sing and dance and act need a very specific understanding with the dance teachers that they're not in class as many hours maybe as a 12-year-old. They only can take 2 or 3 ballet classes a week, not every day. So the teachers that I have to really understand what that is and what that kind of training process is. So that, what was the original question? Oh, how does it shift? So I think that for me, when I first got started, it was just like get started and make it work. And then, the kids get better, and I kind of developed a culture and a reputation for being a place where you go if like you want your kid to be a professional or, and I didn't set out to create that. So then I had to really look at why and then recreate it and which teachers are good for where we're going now and which teachers aren't. And again, it doesn't mean that they're not good teachers. It's just, and you have to be comfortable with, that's not the studio I set out to create. So what is my main why? Like, why do I do this? And what kind of people do I need to achieve that goal? So, it doesn't matter if they're the best, most experienced, most expensive teacher, if they're not in line with what you want for your dancers, your performers, your studio.